What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Watch Report. Today, I want to talk about the Toronto Raptors and the NBA trade deadline. So, the NBA trade deadline is only 2 weeks away, and I will be taking a look at some of the numbers and which areas I think the Toronto Raptors can improve in and what they can do to improve. So, before I get into the details of the video, if you could please do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. It helps reach a larger YouTube audience when you do that, and if you could hit that subscribe button as well, it really helps this channel grow. You get a lot of Raptors content on here, including Raptors rumors, trade scenarios, and the latest Raptors news as well. So let's get right into it. So I wanted to throw this screen up there because you look at the assists per game, which is highlighted there, and you look at our top three guys, they're all averaging a good amount of assists. Fred VanVleet is doing a solid job. I think Pascal Siakam has really stepped it up this year too. Passing wise, he's definitely developed that part of his game. But then you look at after those three guys, there's not really anyone outside of DeAndre Bembry who's also a decent passer that can really facilitate. Norman and OG are good scorers and they do other things, but they're not known for their passing. Patrick McCaw, who's played all but 3 games this season, is a decent passer, but I don't see him being part of the Raptors' future. And obviously, Stanley and Terrence are definitely not passers. Terrence is more of a score first guard. And Malachi Flynn, who we drafted to be our backup point guard, obviously I feel like he is a solid point guard and I think he has a bright future, but I do think he does need a little bit development and some help just being confident in his game. He's definitely struggled. I don't see him being the third point guard that can consistently give us 10-15 minutes a game and distribute the ball really well. So I want to mention this because I want you to have a look at the next screen here and you'll see why I showed you that first screen, because these are the statistics throughout the league for the NBA bench stats. And you look at passing wise, the Raptors are ranked second last in the league when it comes to bench assist. They're averaging only 5.4 assists off the bench, so which is not great at all. So we know when Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet play point guard, one of them goes to the bench and the other continues to play point guard. But as we've seen with injuries and now COVID tracing and potentially getting COVID as well, the Raptors, I believe, do need a point guard just to be that backup just for the year. I'm not suggesting we invest in a point guard for long term, just in case of injury and in case of COVID as well. Malachi Flynn does need some development, and as we saw in the last couple games before this All-Star game, that the Kyle Lowry is getting up there in age, and he definitely can't be playing 38 minutes every game. So we do need someone just in case of injury and COVID. And I feel like we definitely need pass first just to help those guys off the bench a little bit, and also give Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet a little bit of a break as well. So I do feel like that's one of the reasons. I also will talk about that in a bit, but I did want to talk about this as well. The Raptors, who have done a pretty decent job of scoring. You look at the individual statistics there again, you have top four guys who can average 18 plus points a game. That's an absolute bonus. And then you have guys like OG and Chris Boucher who are also capable of scoring 20 any given night. Is a really good thing, but I do want to talk about our bench scoring. Terrence Davis is obviously a good scorer, but he's very inconsistent in not only scoring, but he hasn't been getting minutes as well due to his defense. And he's one of those guys who can drop 18 a night and then the next night he'll score maybe 2 points. So he's very inconsistent scoring wise. Aaron Baines, let's not even go there because he's definitely not been anything most Raptors fans have expected. You look at his three-point shooting there, he's supposed to be a stretch big man, yet he's shooting 24% from the three, which is just hilarious. But let's not even talk about him for a moment. But when you look at our 3-4 guys off the bench outside of Chris Boucher, you look at DeAndre Bembry, Stanley Johnson, Yuta Watanabe, Matt Thomas, who has not been getting minutes. And I know it says Alex Len there, but they're showing that just because he was part of the Raptors this season, not the current roster makeup. But you look at Stanley, Utah, and Matt Thomas and DeAndre Bembry, that's 4.4 points, 2.9 points, 2.7 and 2.5 points, which is just unacceptable off the bench, which leads us to our next slide here. So again, you look at our bench scoring and look at where the Raptors rank. They're 23rd in the league in bench scoring, but that is also, again, I do believe 32.8 is being very generous from our bench. That's also because Chris Boucher is averaging a lot of points, and we do have to keep in mind that Norman Powell earlier in this season, despite struggling, was also playing off the bench. I honestly do believe the Raptors are not giving us that many points a game. The Raptors are definitely struggling scoring wise, and I do want to go back to that slide again as well because this is what I think the Raptors should do. When you have guys like DeAndre Bembry, Stanley Johnson, Yuta Watanabe, Matt Thomas, and Chris Boucher, who's the only one really producing off the bench between those people, those three, four guys there, I do believe, and this is gonna be a little bit of a hot take, I do honestly believe you need to get rid of at least one or two of those guys between DeAndre, Stanley, Yuta, and Matt Thomas because you cannot have four guys averaging such little points off the bench. DeAndre Bembry and Stanley Johnson are really good defenders and they can rebound a little bit. DeAndre Bembry especially can guard different positions and he's a decent passer for his position, but you can't have three, four guys doing little things. They're not really good at one particular thing. I know Matt Thomas is known for his shooting, but outside of that, he doesn't really do much. DeAndre Stanley and Utah, they're great players, but they don't really specialize in one particular area. And that's where I think the Raptors need to fix that bench issue. Trade at least one or two of them, throw in a second round pick if you have to, and trade for a guy that can either get you a lot of points off the bench or can rebound really well for you. You can't have three guys that don't really average more than 4 or 5 points a game. Your bench really struggles, and that is one of the reasons Nick Nurse is forced to play our starters heavy minutes. You look at Pascal, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, and Norman Powell, who's been playing off the bench again, but despite that, he's still averaging almost 30 minutes a game. And those other guys are averaging almost 35 minutes. Kyle Lowry and OG are averaging almost 35, and Pascal and Fred are averaging almost 35 and 36 minutes. So that is one of the reasons why we're forced to play our starters heavy minutes. Again, outside of Chris Boucher, we don't really have a consistent score. And even with Chris Boucher, I feel like he's getting most of his points when he's open or jacking up those three pointers or on putback dunks or household points. So in the playoffs, if the Raptors are to compete, you do need a shot creator or someone off the bench to provide some sort of scoring and give the starters a little bit of a break offensively. There's only so much those guys can do, and it's harder to score in the playoffs because the it's mostly half court offense. So we do need a shot creator off the bench or someone just specializes in rebounding something. We can't have four guys that don't really specialize. Again, outside of Matt Thomas, don't really specialize in one particular area, and this includes Aaron Baines as well. I forgot to mention him earlier, but they don't really specialize in one particular area. They do a little bit of some things. I mean, DeAndre Bembry, his shooting percentage is way better than it's showing. He's normally not a 36% three-point shooter. He rarely shoots three-pointers, but we do need someone that can, again, rebound really good or score. We need one of those because we're really struggling in that department. And again, I want to go back to this screen because as you see, points per game off the bench, Raptors are averaging 32.8, and that's being generous because of Chris Boucher and Norman Powell playing off the bench earlier in the season. So I feel like that's one of those positions or one of those areas the Raptors can improve on. I don't want to throw out players and names yet because I do want to save that for an entirely different video of where I do proposals and talk about some players that Raptors can target. But that is one area I feel like the Raptors can target. And going on to our last slide here, again, I do want to talk about our rebounding as well because this has been a huge issue the entire season. Aaron Baines has been a major disappointment and letdown. You look at the Raptors rebounding, he has not helped out at all. He's averaging, what, 5 rebounds a game, and the Raptors are dead last in the league in rebounding at 41.2. So I do feel like we do need some help, and obviously you can maybe contribute to that to our little backcourt. But Kyle Lowry is averaging, I believe, 5 rebounds, which is pretty good for a point guard. So, but we definitely do need help in scoring and rebounding, and I feel like we do need a passing point guard off the bench. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, we already have so many guards and we have Malachi Flynn. But I feel like just someone they can trade for or maybe get from the buyout market just for this season, just to be a backup, not play a lot of minutes, but if he does need to play, he's ready to go and be a vet. I do want to go back on this slide here again because you look at the Raptors roster makeup here, outside of Kyle Lowry and Aaron Baines, most of our players are fairly young. They're about 27 or younger. And I really feel like the Raptors, another area they can do is I feel like they need another locker room presence outside of Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, as we know, has a voice and he's always getting his guys pumped up. But I do genuinely feel like we do have a lot of young guys off the bench as well. We do need a veteran presence who can kind of just come in and calm everyone down, who can maybe rebound, hopefully, or score in one of those areas we do need help in. Or, he's a good passer, but I feel like those are the three areas we really need help on. And I feel like the Raptors, if we are to contend, again, 2 weeks are far away, so we'll see what the Raptors do or how the Raptors play standing wise where they are 2 weeks from now. But I genuinely do feel like if they're going to contend, we do need help in those three areas and we do need to fix that issues, particularly in scoring off the bench and rebounding. Rebounding has been a major issue for us for quite some time now, and we definitely need to trade for a center that's better than Aaron Baines, but also a really good rebounder as well. So Chris Boucher, as good as he's been, he's not known for his rebounding and he doesn't box out very well, and obviously his size as well. So is an issue when we do play bigger teams with a traditional big man. So we do need a center. I personally believe that can rebound or score. We need someone who can create a shot creator, because we do struggle with that in half court offense, as we've seen in the playoffs. And we do need someone, a backup point guard, I personally believe. And our fourth option is just a veteran presence off the bench who can provide some sort of leadership. So I think those are our needs before the NBA trade deadline. So before I end this video off, I do want to hear what you guys think of this video. So please let me know in the comments section. And I do want to hear your opinion of where you think the Raptors should improve on and what we can do to improve and what positions we need help in. So that will be it for this video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time.